Good evening, First Unitarian Denver. Welcome to this winter solstice service. Please join your voices in singing our opening song, Deck the Halls.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure, la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la.
Good evening, First Unitarian Denver, and welcome to our solstice service. Tonight, we will sing together, give thanks for the darkness and the winter season, and celebrate the returning of the light. I call us to worship this evening with The Shortest Day by Susan Cooper. So the shortest day came and the year died, and everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people singing, dancing to drive the dark away. They lit candles in the winter trees, they hung their homes with evergreen, they burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the New Year's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling. Through all the frosty ages, you can hear them echoing behind us. Listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight this shortest day. As promise wakens in the sleeping land, they carol, feast, give thanks, dearly love their friends, and hope for peace. And so do we, here, now, this year and every year. Welcome, Yule. Welcome to our service this evening. Let us worship together.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the year. Make your house fair as you are able. Trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing to kings. Love the guest, he's on the way. Furrows be glad, the earth is bare. One more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, the seed to nourish that enclose. The flower may flourish. People look east and sing to
I'm going to read to you now a little from one of my favorite books. This is Moominland Midwinter. It takes place in Finland during the long Arctic winter night. Inside, the house was warm and cozy. Heaps of peat were quietly smoldering in the central heating stove down in the cellar. The moon looked in sometimes at the drawing-room window, lighting on the white winter covers of the chairs and on the cut glass chandelier in its white gauze dust cover. They always slept from November till April, because such was the custom of their forefathers, and Moomins stick to tradition. The silence was deep and expectant. The streak of moonlight wandered from rocking chair to drawing-room table, crawled over the brass knobs of the bed end, and shone straight in Moomintroll's face. And now something happened that had never happened before, not since the first Moomin took to his hibernating den. Moomintroll awoke and found that he couldn't get back to sleep again. He looked at the moonlight and the ice ferns on the window. He listened to the humming of the stove in the cellar and felt more and more awake and astonished. Finally he rose and padded over to Moomin Mama's bed. He pulled at her ear very cautiously, but she didn't awake. She just curled into an uninterested ball. All at once Moomintroll felt frightened and stopped short in the warm darkness beside the streak of moonlight. He was so terribly lonely. "Mother, wake up!" Moomintroll shouted. "All the world's got lost." But Moomin Mama didn't wake up. Moomintroll curled up on the rug next to her bed, and the long winter night went on. At dawn, the snowdrift on the roof began to move. It went slithering down a bit, then it resolutely coasted over the roof edge and sat down with a soft thump. Now all the windows were buried, and only a weak gray light found its way inside. The drawing room looked more unreal than ever, as if it were deep under the earth. Moomintroll went to the front door and tried to open it, but it had frozen fast. He ran whimpering from window to window and tried them all, but they were also stuck hard. And so the lonely Moomintroll rushed up to the attic, managed to lift the chimney sweep's hatch, and clambered out onto the roof. A wave of cold air received him. He lost his breath, slipped, and rolled over the edge. And so Moomintroll was helplessly thrown out into a strange and dangerous world and dropped up to his ears in the first snowdrift of his experience. "This is snow," Moomintroll whispered to himself. "I've heard about it from Mother, and it's called snow." Since this takes place in the Arctic winter, the sun hasn't risen since the beginning of the book. We're now in the middle. Moomintroll has a winter friend, Two Ticky, who has told him the sun is going to make an appearance today. Two Ticky was sitting under the ice with her fishing rod. She liked the sea's habit of sinking a bit now and then. At those times, she could easily climb down through a hole by the landing stage and seat herself on a boulder to fish. Then one had a nice green ceiling of ice overhead and the sea at one's feet. Beside Two Ticky lay 4 small fish. One more and she'd have her soup. Suddenly she heard impatient steps coming nearer on the landing stage. Up there, Moomintroll rapped at the bathing house door. He waited a moment and knocked again. "Ho!" shouted Two Ticky. "I'm under the ice." After a while, Moomintroll's nose cautiously appeared in the opening. His ears were decorated with limp gold ribbons. He shivered and said, "Well, he didn't come." "Who didn't?" asked Two-Ticky. "The sun!" cried Moomintroll. Two-Ticky hauled in her line. "Don't be in such a hurry," she said. "He's been coming on this day every year, so probably he'll do it now again. Pull up your nose so I can come up out of here." Two-Ticky clambered up to the surface and sat down on the bathing house steps. She sniffed lightly and listened. Then she said, "Soon now. Sit down and wait." Little Mai came skating over the ice and sat down beside them. She had tied tin can lids under her shoes for better speed. "So here we're waiting for something wonderful again," she said. "Not that I wouldn't like a little daylight." 2 old crows came flapping from the wood and alighted on the roof of the bathing house. The minutes passed. All at once, the fluff on Moomintroll's back bristled, and in great excitement he saw a red light gathering on the dusky sky just over the horizon. It thickened to a narrow red sliver of fire that threw long red rays of light along the ice. "There he is!" cried Moomintroll. He lifted Little Mai in his arms and kissed her smack on the nose. "Golly, what a fuss!" said Little Mai. "What's all this to make such a noise about?" "Of course!" cried Moomintroll. "Spring! Warmth! Everybody'll wake up! How splendid!" He took the 4 fish and threw them high in the air. He stood on his head. He had never felt so happy in his life. And then the ice became dark again. The crows took off and went slowly flapping over the shore. Two-Ticky gathered up her fish, and the little red strip had hidden itself under the horizon. "Did he change his mind?" Moomintroll asked, horrified. "No wonder, after taking a peep at you," said Little Mai, and skated off on her tin can lids. "He'll return tomorrow," replied Two-Ticky, "and then he'll be a tiny bit bigger, about like a piece of cheese rind. Take it easy." And Two-Ticky climbed back down under the ice to fill her soup kettle with seawater. Of course she was right. It isn't as simple as all that for a sun to appear in the sky. But you won't be less disappointed just because other people are right and you are not. The third excerpt I'm going to read is about the first time snow actually falls on Moomintroll. Often when it's really cold and dark, there's not much actual snow. The snow sticks around forever, but it doesn't fall very often. Moomintroll was far too upset to go home. Instead, he wandered down to the shore and strolled along it. He made a large detour around the bathing house. He felt more and more unburdened as he walked along. In the end, he was nearly exhilarated. He started to whistle and kicked a lump of ice with great skill along his path. And then it slowly started to snow. It was the first snowfall since before New Year's, and Moomintroll was greatly surprised. One flake after the other landed on his warm nose and melted away. He caught several in his paw to admire them for a fleeting moment. He looked toward the sky and saw them sinking down straight at him, more and more, softer and lighter than birds' down. "Oh, it's like this," thought Moomintroll. "I believed it simply formed on the ground somehow." The air was milder. There was nothing in sight except falling snow, and Moomintroll was caught by the same kind of excitement he used to feel at times when he was wading out for a swim. He threw his bathing gown off and himself headlong into a snowdrift. "So that's winter too," he thought. You can even like it.
It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth to all goodwill, from heaven the news we bring. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. Still through the cloven skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats o'er all the weary world. Above its sad and lowly plains they bend on hovering wing, and ever o'er its babble sound the blessed angels sing. For lo, the days are hastening on, by prophet but foretold, when with the ever-circling years comes round the age of gold, when peace shall over all the earth its ancient splendors fling, and the whole world give back the song which now the angels sing.
I invite you now into a time of meditation and reflection. Our winter solstice meditation comes from Reverend Lynn Cox. We pause as the path of the sun reverses, seemingly holding its place for a moment of turning. Let us delve into the gifts of darkness at the winter solstice. We follow curiosity and contemplation down into the cold earth, taking a journey to the world below the surface. Here we find acorns, cached by squirrels and chipmunks, perhaps to be food laid in store, or perhaps to become trees in the fullness of time. We find the burrows of hibernating animals, those who sleep and repair. We find seeds, including some that will not sprout unless they first wait through the frost and ice. Life finds rest and renewal in the darkness. May those who are weary find comfort. May those who are struggling find meaning and companionship. May those who are injured or ill find recovery. May those who hunger find abundance. Let this be a time of healing. And may the dreams of the dark lead us to share these gifts with one another. Our imagination rises back to the surface, to life where the cold ground meets the crisp air. Here we observe life finding its way. We observe animals eating seeds left on the ground, though the harvest is long past. We notice the migration of birds, natural movement that allows populations to find places where they can thrive. We observe the trees that appear to sleep and yet hold sap that will rise again before the spring arrives. We observe that not everything lives through the winter, and yet all that has lived returns to the earth and is transformed. Let this be a time of resilience. May the changing seasons bring new meaning and new insights. May creativity and persistence lead us to find resources for all to share. May those who migrate find safety, and may there be good news in the wind. May transformation lead us onward. We now lift our imagination to the sky, to the returning sun, and to the brilliant winter night. Shifting hours of light and darkness remind us that change is part of the rhythm of the universe, and so trouble does not last. Acknowledging the gifts of darkness, we also look forward to the growing light, a change that brings glimmers of hope. We marvel at the beauty of this time. Stars unobstructed by leaves, jewels of the night shining over the land, moon and meteors inspiring us to awe and wonder. Let this be a time of celebration. What joy can be found, let us hold it close, blow on its embers, and share its spark. We do not take for granted having come this far, and we give thanks for our companions on the journey. We continue our meditation in silence.
Our benediction is Winter Solstice by Reverend Rebecca Parker. Perhaps, for a moment, the typewriters will stop clicking, the wheels stop rolling, the computers desist from computing, and a hush will fall over the city. For an instant, in the stillness, the chiming of the celestial spheres will be heard as Earth hangs poised in the crystalline darkness and then gracefully tilts. Let there be a season where holiness is heard and the splendor of living is revealed. Stunned to stillness by beauty, we remember who we are and why we are here. There are inexplicable mysteries. We are not alone. In the universe there moves a wild one whose gestures alter Earth's axis toward love. In the immense darkness, everything spins with joy. The cosmos enfolds us. We are caught in a web of stars, cradled in a swaying embrace, rocked by the holy night, babes of the universe. Let this be the time we wake to life, like spring wakes in the moment of winter solstice.
We wish you comfort, joy, and peace this year and every year as we celebrate the returning of the light. Blessed be.
Welcome in the winter solstice, returning of the light, the sun will rise and warm us. Returning of the light, with gratitude for darkness, rejoice, rejoice. We wait for sun's appearance, rejoice, the days grow long again. Returning of the light, returning of the light. Rejoice, rejoice. Rejoice, the days grow long again.
In the stillness of the dark, peace and calm and melody, we behold a brilliant spark rise from solemn questioning. Listen for the voice within. Rejoice, rejoice. Listen to the children sing. Rejoice, the days grow long again. Welcome in the winter solstice, returning of the light, the sun will come to warm us. Returning of the light, with gratitude for darkness, rejoice, rejoice. The sons of virgins, rejoice, the days grow long again. Ringing bells our joy express, nature sings in resonance. Mother Earth in wisdom bless, nurture us in eloquence. Send out our New Year's intentions. Rejoice, the days grow long.